The NeuroDADverse Podcast is produced by Squid Shack Studios.
Hey, I'm Ben.
And I'm Dan.
We're both fathers,
We're both married.
and we're both raising kids with diagnosed neurodiverse conditions.
Parenting is tough, and we're not saying it's harder for us, just different.
And sometimes that different can be hard to explain.
That's why we've created the NeuroDADverse, a weekly show where we share our wins, our challenges, and all the neurosparkly and neurospicy bits in between.
Our hope is to create a safe space for parents to share their own highs and lows of neurodiverse parenting. And just to remind you of three things.
You're doing great,
You are enough.
and you're definitely not alone.
So welcome to the NeuroDADverse. Welcome to the 46th episode of the NeuroDADverse, where Charlton Athletic have confirmed their championship status for another season. Wait, sorry, just because we started talking about this podcast when they got promoted, this is not a football podcast, but we are happy about that. It's definitely both Dan and I's win of the week. But if you're not here for Charlton Athletic talk, why would you be? We are the podcast for, about, and definitely by parents of neurodivergent children. If you're new here, welcome in. If you're returning, welcome back. And if you can't really remember, if you've listened to us at all before, that's okay. Sometimes we forget things. What we do is we get together and we share our wins and challenges of parenting our children who are neurodivergent. I've got a couple of teens, and Dan has an almost, because it's nearly Frankie's birthday, right?
Yeah, a few weeks away. Yep.
Oh, and he will be
7.
7. Good. Glad I checked with the notes. So yeah, that's us, the NeuroDADverse. Hello. Hi Dan, how are you?
Hey, Ben. I'm good. I was just checking how many points Charlton actually had, because I'll be like, wouldn't that be spooky if it was 46, but it's actually 53, isn't it? So,
Yes, it's actually 53.
but
We
yes,
mustn't go down
thank
this.
you,
we
Charlton
mustn't go-
Athletic, for bringing us back together and starting this podcast. So,
Yeah. It's good. If you're not remotely interested in football, that's okay. Dan and I are, and we reconnected over Charlton's rise back to being somewhat a good football team, and then started talking about this. So that is why we are here. Right. So what we do is we, like we said, we try to chronicle things throughout our week that have been both challenging and then things that have been wins, and we try to sum those things up in 3 words. So what's your week in 3 words today, Dan, my friend?
So my week in 3 words, I've managed to do 2 weeks in a row with a little bit of rhyming. So I've got participation, recollection, celebration, sort of rhymes, all 3. Half rhymes.
Love that. I've gone for all P's. So I've got perform,
Mhm.
present, and prejudice.
Oh, okay.
Ooh. So we'll get into a little bit of that. We normally start by talking about our challenges and trying to see if we can uncover some wins out of those challenges. So why don't you kick off and let me know what's been going on in your week and what you found challenging?
So in terms of what my week included this week, we full week of school, second week, full week of school. We had a visit to the dentist. Frankie had a sports day-esque like activity, like sponsorship
Okay.
thing. It was Michael Day, because Amy is a massive Michael Jackson fan, so we went and saw the Michael Jackson film. And yesterday, Saturday, was Diagnosis Day, which is an event of purely of the ICOT's making, where we celebrate Frankie's official zebra confirmation status. So we try and make everything of that. So regarding my challenge of the week, it's actually been the weekend, and that crossed a little bit on Diagnosis Day and into today as well. Frankie's just been a little bit different, I suppose, is the best way to put it. Can't really put my finger on it. I suppose it happens every now and again. He's going through a little bit of a developmental growth patch, or brain expansion, or whatever the other sort of quirky expressions people use for growing, not growing pains, but the sort of just a growth period. Because so to try and make Diagnosis special this year, we decided that we were going to get a double tent. We got a tent at Christmas. One of our friends.
I remember you saying that was one of your wins of the week, where like they really enjoyed the tent. Sorry. Cool.
Yeah, so we got a double tent this time, so we could all try and fit in it. But unfortunately, it's still a bit of a tight squeeze, especially with ants in his pants, Frank, moving every 5 seconds. But we have made some memories there for sure. So yeah, we got him the tent. That came a few days early, so we could get used to it, and we can sort of sit there and watch TV and whatever in the evenings for a few nights. And then the last couple of weeks, the win last week, or one of the quickfire wins, was Frankie's been using and like actively taking out his social story pictures that we have on our table,
Yeah.
sticky board. And on both occasions, he's kind of had his nan's house sort of front and center. So we thought we'll go and visit Nanny. And we had a splendid walk there, to be honest. There was no sort of scare moments. He was walked comfortably the whole way there, really happy with us. And that was just really nice as well, because there was a time for about a good 9 months where Frankie wouldn't walk anywhere. He had to be carried or on my shoulders, or would have to cab everywhere. So it's just nice to have that. It was a nice day. And then we got to Nanny's. He was really happy, walked in. But then after about 20 minutes, he just kind of just seemed to be unsettled. And we couldn't work out why. Couldn't work out. Like, he was happy to see his uncle and his cousin and his nan. But I don't know, maybe there was a noise I couldn't hear, quite possibly. Like, it is the time of year where people are now starting to do their garden work again, and Frankie doesn't really like those kind of low rumbling sounds. But he just seemed a little bit unsettled, and then that kind of continued again today. He wanted to go in the garden, so I said, look, put your sliders on. He put his sliders on. He went outside for all of about 30 seconds while I set up the patio table chairs, just, the umbrella and some seats and whatever. And then he spent like 3 hours in the kitchen wearing his sliders, just wanting to eat every sort of 10 minutes and wanting to watch TV in the kitchen, sort of on his own. Like, Amy was like making a lunch because we was having her brother over for lunch and a bit of a play date. And yeah, it just seemed, I don't know if he's tired or I don't know, it just wasn't quite the sort of high energy Frank that we're normally used to. He's not distressed, but it was just kind of like, we thought we were going to do something that would make him really happy, and it just didn't connect on this occasion. So just a little bit sort of deflating. Like,
I mean, has it been limited wind and nice sunny skies where you are, a little bit warmer?
It has been warmer, not really too much wind. It has been sunny all weekend.
Okay. Yeah. So
yeah, I don't know. Really,
it's possible. But then again, we kind of sometimes get into these loops, don't we, as parents, and being like, I wonder what the thing was. Sometimes, like, kids and teens and everything, they're just not feeling a thing, and they just want to do what they want to do, and it wants to be directed. So the good kind of thing is that you didn't really like push it and force it.
No, I suppose
you just kind of go like, oh, isn't it like rewind a year ago, the Sunday that you had where I went outside for 30 seconds, but just hung around the kitchen in the slows watching TV and just being normal while Amy cooks dinner, is like, what? That's a huge win in terms of the long term, but maybe what meeting your expectations is slightly different, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose my challenge actually this week, like listening back and saying it like that, I just had for a change had sort of high energy because there was a little bit exciting because we like to make a big deal out of it, but to him it was just Saturday.
Yeah, and I think that's right.
So he's like, Dad, it's Saturday and this is what I want to do, and that's fine. So but when his uncle got here, he had a great time. They played on the trampoline and he sort of had the energy then. I think he was just a little bit like, I'm just going to take my time, Dad. So
sounds great news about the social stories, though. Like, if Frank's going towards those and you say he showed you nannies.
So he went into the kitchen and he took all of them out, and I walked in and I took some photos. I was like, oh, what are you doing, Frank? Are you having a look? And he kind of spread them all out, but Nanny's house was kind of separate to the rest of the pile. And then the other time he was holding Nanny's house. So it was like, okay, he obviously wants to go. So we chose not to go to the gym, because we always go to the gym pretty much every week. It's on if we don't have plans. We said we'll go see Nanny instead. But it was like after 20 minutes, he wanted to go. We managed to long it out for a couple of hours, and then we came home. So, but he got the walk. It's just
that is some communication that you would have once upon a time cried out for.
Yeah.
And it's like those little small building blocks, because what you can develop it into is you can so if the thing that Frankie picks is different from what you had. You can get the one from the gym and ask, "Are you sure?" and then give a binary like nannies or gym, and he can just take one from you, and it's great. It's just like that little step further to communicating their needs. So it's really good.
We've got a couple of just some of the other activities that we do, but not as regular. We are going to just slowly add a couple every week and just try and build out the visual vocabulary, as it were. So like
that's
positives. Lovely. Positives have had moments. Just I suppose my energy and my expectation wasn't reached, and it's just a bit. But I mean that's what my recollection and my celebration was, because we did celebrate him. My other friend makes cookies and that with his name on and like the jigsaw and stuff like that. So we've had good times, and I always celebrate the occasion by writing a poem and putting it out on my social media. So that was the recollection of my words, and just looking back and seeing everything we've done was quite a win. So my challenge was just my energy and expectation, really.
Yeah, it was lovely. Your little poem was great, mate.
Oh, thank you.
It's good. It's really, we'll come on to that a little bit. It's really nice to do creative things that link to your kids. I've certainly find it like helps you kind of feel connected to them in a way that sometimes I have personally struggled with because of that kind of barrier a little bit, or the communication barrier. So that's good. That's good, mate. So we were our first week back at school.
Yes.
Where we are in the country. And so our biggest challenge was kind of two. There was one for Mabel, one for Oscar, or relating to Mabel and related to Oscar. Mabel came straight back into a week of mock exams, being that she's in year 10. That will be the first time at this new school that Mabel has experienced that. And so whilst there's some access arrangements in relation to Mabel's ADHD diagnosis, she won't have done it in a formal way like that before, the lining up, the going to the thing, knowing what the kind of knowing staff, knowing who is going to be looking after them, and also then you take away from that just the stress of doing some exams, right? And how she was going to respond to that. So the challenge has been, for me, for Laura and I, really, not to just try and let her do it. But that's really tough, super tough, because having had her education interrupted, but equally her being so determined to do so well, and I guess I emphasize the word well because what she assumes is well is all linked up to how she feels about how her education was disrupted because of some really horrible circumstances and having to change schools and stuff like that. But I think she also possibly, I don't think she'd recognize this, but she's kind of getting some validation from being perceived as intelligent. It's a lot of stuff about being perceived at the moment because they're teens and we've all been there. I remember very much being not really knowing, I'm perceived differently in this space than I am from this space. Like if I go somewhere with my parents, I'm perceived differently. And just working out who you are, because that's what teenagers are about. So it was a challenge to not be naggy about revision. Like year 10 exams, if you don't revise for them, you will get some results, and then that will tell you how you feel, how you should feel about. So it's kind of tough, really, and also tough to get some feedback for her. So and it
as in to her or from her, feedback as in you wanted to know how it went.
Just complicated conversations. So just because I think in my professional experience, most teenagers say it was bad. It's bad. I'm not good enough. That's the exam was bad. I wasn't good enough. So I tried to ask those searching questions, like the factual based stuff that can lead into a conversation. And sometimes she shut the conversation down. She still want to talk about it. It's like, how many questions were there? And I've found a bit of a route in to be like, oh, and whether was the exam board sneaky? Was the exam sneaky? And she would go, yeah, do you know what? They did this, and how they wrote it was just like, why the hell are you doing that? Like, why had she got like kind of emotive about it? And she's like, yeah, but it was okay because I did this. And she would kind of start to ramble on about it. But it was a challenge not to just be like, just like put upon her how important that is. We tended to get around it a little bit by, and it's a little bit cliche, it was like saying, look, from our criteria, we want you to go in and sit in the exam, experience what it's like to do it at this new school, experience your access arrangements to make sure they're appropriate for you, and give an answer to every question. Like, that's our criteria. We won't know the last one. But if you tell us that and you didn't stand up and walk out of an exam, you didn't get disqualified because you were like, distracted and you wanted to whatever, that's a win for us. And so we were like, you've passed on our criteria, you've passed today. This doesn't, go to your final grade. It's just an experience. And sometimes she was like, oh, thanks. And sometimes she was like, oh, lame. But it was challenging to just let go and have her let her have the experience. Within that as well, like, she made choices to not go to football training but to revise.
Okay, and did she revise?
Mostly? We're unsure.
Okay.
Because there's no way that we are going to enforce her to sit down and revise. It would just be a battle, and also, I don't.
It's counterproductive to
yeah. Also, like, she doesn't really like the when I become like teacher mode. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
She just like finds it weird, and she's always said that. She said it when I helped out one a long time ago when I was her like doing some like basic football coaching for her. And she asked me to stop doing that because she was like, it's just weird. Don't like it. So now we know why. It's like, oh, I want specific things in specific areas, and but yeah, so that's been a bit of a challenge. I'm happy to say though, smuggling the wins out of that is that she did go to school every day, and she did sit all of those exams, and she didn't say to us that she'd sat there for an hour and a half and not written a word. She said she missed bits out. She was annoyed, but she also said that, yeah. So it's just, I think that's a little bit of a win that she was there for the whole time.
No, definitely.
And with Oscar, we've had the challenges, if you've been listening a while, of some attendance. It's not to do with anything other than Oscar's understanding about themselves and some of the concerns that they have about what they're doing in class and stuff. It's a complicated scenario to get good reasons from Oscar. And they've been starting to lean into some what you would classically call more stereotypical feminine gender expression. So like wearing some makeup, wearing some slightly more blocky, like heeled shoes. They really lent into that over Easter break. And so they wanted to build that, I think, into their school outfit, which we are, of course, completely behind. And that's why I talked about present, perform, and prejudice, because those three things, I think, for Mabel, particularly in terms of her exams, but also for Oscar goes to a school where that is kind of recognized and encouraged to explore gender identity. However, there is some guidance from the government, and they're going through for the Department for Education. Sorry to get all worky on you, but there are these things like watchful waiting and not to use preferred pronouns directly straight away if the student asks and stuff. It's a really difficult time to be working with young people who are experiencing this and going through this, because they need to kind of feel seen and and understood. Understood in a way where they're just trying to work things out. And then the other part of it is that there are other kids in that school, right, who might not be as inclusive in their thinking, and so the challenge for me has been when Oscar has shown that they've put on some mascara, or over Easter they'd kind of like started some eyeshadow, or did some really cool, like expressive, like kind of paint splurge things running down their face, is to be like, that's exceptional, that's incredible, you're so super creative, I love this. But at the back of my mind, the challenge has been, if you rock up to school like that, I am so scared that you're going to have experiences that make you not want to go there the next day. As inclusive as the adults are, and as awesome as they are, the challenge is, people walk down the street expressing their gender in a particular way, or just expressing themselves in a particular way, and are, being attacked for it violently. So, and schools are like a microcosm of society. So yeah, that's been a challenge. However, Oscar did go to school for 5 days this week. Did not do any of the kind of gender expression clothing until later in the week, where they wore some kind of blocked heel shoes, and on Friday some mascara, and had an experience at school which was not bullying, which we think is incredible. And yeah, I mean, there's a little bit more to say about it in the win, but Laura had a meeting with the school about helping them, encourage them to attend more, and that formed a very inclusive and very understanding conversation about gender identity. So that is a nice little positive to come out of the challenge. But it's just been on my mind, I think, as well, because I see a lot of those attitudes in my professional life. Like they teenagers, a lot of them had approached this particular topic, and ones regarding difference in race, for example, with judgment and not curiosity, and that is the challenge that I think society is having. But anyway, so yeah, it was okay towards the end, but throughout the week I did find it really challenging. Like, I don't want anything to derail Oscar feeling more comfortable at school. But I wasn't as optimistic as I might have been normally, but I am a little bit more now, because Friday was really good.
Yeah, and I mean, that's totally understandable. Like, especially when you're having sort of 100% in terms of attendance, when that's been a challenge, you don't want anything to sort of stop that from happening. And obviously, yeah, as you say, there's not a lot of people there's not as many people have open minds and want to meet things with curiosity these days. They just want to meet with judgment straight away. So
yeah,
we will win that battle one day, my friend.
But well, I think if you just challenge it and win it at home, that's all you need to do. Like, I'm not everyone's parent. You might be listening to this podcast and have completely diverse opinions about if your child is showing they want to express elements of the gender that are kind of opposite from the biological sex that they're born in. I just got to try to support my kid while they're working something out, and I see it no different to them trying to work out something else. I just got to try to be alongside them rather than above them, and that's giving them confidence and hope. So yeah, just give them a bit of time, particularly teens. Give them a bit of time, and they'll kind of work through it. Yeah, so it's a bit more hopeful than I was perhaps expecting at the start of the week. So we'll track that and see how that goes. There were some other examples and options of examples of when they were able to do that. but they kind of form part of the win. So perhaps we'll pop back after this and we can get into that, shall we?
Absolutely. See you in a bit.
Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at NeuroDADverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves. Hello, and welcome back into the NeuroDADverse, the podcast for, about, and definitely by parents of neurodivergent children. We're here to talk about all of the neurosparkly and neurospicy things about our children and how it is challenging and also awesome bringing them up and advocating for them and parenting for them. Thanks for popping back. This second half of the podcast is where we talk about our wins. We try to end on positives. So before the little break there, I was talking about school for both the kids and how it had been challenging to support them going back. Oscar did also, and Mabel did also, both make a full 5 days of school.
Win.
So we are in a positive. We're not necessarily tracking it to mean that if they don't make a full one next week, it's all in the bin. We are just going with the positives and chronicling the wins. But I was also talking about how Oscar is expressing their gender in different ways. So Oscar has long shoulder length hair. They also, the thing I didn't mention before is they also have been wearing some nail varnish. It's black, so that's cool for them. And they've been involving themselves in thick block like heels, and wearing a bit of mascara. And they have been doing that a little bit more if we've gone out together, just to the shop or something. And they did it a little bit at Christmas, where they came down for like some table dinners and stuff. And what's lovely is that people who've known Oscar all their life don't really comment. You know, they don't really like judge Oscar, and Oscar knows them, so Oscar feels comfortable. And that was also true on Monday evening. So a Monday evening, I went to a band practice with my pals who are in a band with, and didn't have kind of childcare, and it was going to be late, so I was like, well, I have to take the kids, and they would my bandmates were totally fine with them, and they've known them, I mean, pretty much since well over 10 years, because that's how long we've been doing the band thing. It's completely a part-time fun thing. We really love and enjoy doing it. And the kids kind of know about it as well, because all the lyrics we write are like weird things that kids have that my kids, and now every time we're doing it, the other guys, bandmates' kids, have said. So we just write them down and then we make them into songs, which has been super fun. We started doing that 10 years ago this year.
Wow.
So which is super fun. So I know.
And you're super awesome at it. Yeah, I love it.
That's very kind of you.
I'm a fan.
I do,
it's your band's instrumentals at the start of the pod, is it not?
Oh yeah, if you enjoy the stuff, it sounds pop punky. If you like stuff like the Bouncing Souls and Pew 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 and I don't know, Iron Chic, that type of stuff. We just want it to be a lot of fun and have a really nice time doing it. That's all we really want. 3 of us are teachers, and now, like I said, since we started it, all of us are now parents in some way, shape, or form. So now there is a whole bunch of other weird stuff that like younger kids are saying that we get to throw together. And we're doing a gig soon, so we've got back into the thing. So what was lovely about it was the kids came with me, and I knew at that point they were going to immediately walk in to that little rehearsal studio that we go to, and they were going to immediately be met with complete acceptance for however they turned up, because those 3 human beings who I'm in that band with know them all the time. They've heard me have conversations about things that the kids have struggled with, because you share things with your friends, and they just know. Do you know what I mean? And it's that type of acceptance that I'm just cautious might not exist for them in their school. And I'm talking particularly about Oscar, but also kind of like Mabel. Like if we're talking about a mask, which I think is a little bit too, simplistic way to understand things, but she can just be herself, I guess, and so can Oscar. And that was just great because Oscar, there was a piano in the recording at the rehearsal room that we go to, and Oscar just walked straight in, opened it up, put a little thing on how to play certain songs from a certain soundtrack from a certain computer game, ding 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 ding, and that was great. And Mabel was like interested in doing some singing along because obviously they know the songs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's just what a wonderful little thing to just be a part of. And it's not like we didn't start and deliberately be like, oh, if I write all the things that come out of my kids' mouths, like being scared of going in the loft until they're 18 years old, right? Like that's one of them said that. I didn't do that so that like, oh, when I'm older, they could be like really happy that that's how we did it. I don't know. It was starting it when you're, I guess, in your 30s. You kind of go. In fact, the guy who drums in our band I used to work with said to me, "What are you going to write about?" And I went, "I have no idea. I'm 35." And he went, "Why don't you just write down all the silly stuff your kids see?" So that's why we do it. But the fact that they enjoy it and they like it and they know it is just fun.
Well, that's such a great concept as well. Like I say, Frankie said 8 words and you made a poem out of it. Like, it's a good skill to have. It's good.
It's also just to share some joy with your kids and you don't really know what they're gonna,
say and react.
I don't think I'd ever do it if it was just like they weren't. It was like, oh, that's just Dad's thing,
Mm.
Oh, that's boring, Dad. Like if they didn't like it, I don't think I'd still be doing it. So it's really fun and it's something that we kind of all share. So to have them there and to just be able to be like running through songs, them knowing them, like Oscar was taking some time in the corner and having their like headphones on and being in their own little world. But at no point did they kind of feel like this is like embarrassing Dad or that type of thing. It was like a shared thing.
Well, you were in an enclosed recording studio, so no joking. No, that's really good. Did they come to you?
But what I mean was there were two teenagers who didn't like beg me for the 2 hours that we were there to leave.
Oh right, that's
you know what I mean? Like they were like, yeah, sure. There wasn't like any. I said, oh, we're going to go to band rehearsal. You guys are going to come with me because Mum's working late or whatever. And they both went, yeah, sure, no worries. And Oscar like did wear heels, did wear I think a little bit of mascara. Had like kind of long like gloves on and stuff. So yeah,
nice.
Just really nice. Yeah, good fun. And then the other thing that I've noticed is I've been saying to Mabel, oh, Oscar went to school again today. And I've been saying to Oscar, oh, Mabel did both her exams today. And I've noticed in their very rare interactions, usually like both when they happen to be in the kitchen at the same time asking for food or they cross each other on the stairs, I've noticed them kind of going unprompted, like into each other's room or whatever, like, oh, well done for today.
Oh, that's nice.
And stuff. There's just some little things about that, just like, oh yeah, it's just nice. They kind of care about each other. So yeah, some nice little wins there. Yeah, them hanging out band practice was fun. Might happening in tomorrow, so we shall see. What about you, my friend? What was your win of the week?
So my win this week is slightly different because it's not something that either Amy or I witnessed, but we read the report of it, as it were. So
is this a school thing?
It is school related. So my 3 words were so this is the sort of participation. So I mentioned that in my week there was like a sports day equivalent sponsorship event. A sporting event. Let's just go. It was a sporting event the kids were allowed
Okay.
to wear school uniform, and they had to do some kind of circuit, I believe. They were raising money for something. To be totally honest, I can't remember when I read the form, but
That's fine.
anyway,
A charity sport
a
event.
charity sport event. We sent some money in. We're like, yeah, we'll sponsor him. Last year when we went along to Sports Day, Frankie didn't partake. We spent the whole time in the classroom with him, just doing activities and whatever else, and he was happy with that, and that was fine. So we didn't have high expectations, which is probably shame on us for thinking like that. But we was like, okay, we'll send some money in. We don't think he'll do it, but it's fine. We're supporting the cause and whatever else.
We don't take the shame on this podcast. What we do is go, I had this experience at the school with the sport, and this is informing my next thing. And what's going to happen is it's going to meet my expectation, or my kid will surprise me. We're not taking any shame.
Okay, no, you're right. You're fair. So yeah, basically, he came home on Wednesday, Thursday, and whatever day it was, and the teacher said, I opened his communication book. We got a new book because we communicate every day, and a certificate slid out, and I was like, oh, okay, participation of the thing. Read in the book that Frankie did the challenge. He let us dress like changing him into his PE kit. He did it all. Photos will be coming on the app that they use soon. So I was like, well, that is a win. And when I FaceTimed Amy, I was like, look at this. And she's like, oh my God, he actually did it. I was like, yeah, like we both did. We just thought it'll be a non-starter. He'll be in the classroom. And the reason that we've kind of classed that as our win is because having experienced the live event of Sports Day, the challenges that would have come along with trying to do something like this, for instance, the staff use a megaphone, which is really loud. He doesn't like things like that. It also sometimes it makes the little beep noise beforehand. Doesn't like that. So just being told what to do, but turn taking, waiting, moving around, potentially other noises like people cutting grass and loads of building works happening around here lately.
Yeah, of course.
So, and obviously a massive break from his usual routine of what he does on a Thursday at school. So considering all of those things could compile very quickly and help him deregulate, I was actually just like, that's just amazing. So yeah, I haven't seen it. I didn't witness it. I'm waiting for the evidence to appear on the app this week. But I just think in terms of, especially my challenge last week was we had a spontaneous out in our street, and obviously that didn't end particularly great. I wasn't expecting that, so that was a big win. And then
I'll tell you,
go on.
The other thing that pops up about that is that you've kind of mentioned that, so like you're going from last year's Sports Day to like that's the comparison you're making, and you've been saying throughout the year that some of the wins have been a bit more sociable. So like he's been getting involved socially with the members of the class, like being cheeky. I think he came and got 2 bits of cake at a birthday party at school or something. And he's enjoying making friends in the class laugh and stuff.
Yes.
And so I think when schools then go ahead and do something communal like that, maybe that's a sign, I don't know if there's too much of a stretch, but maybe that's a sign that he feels more part of the class or the school. Everyone's doing this, so I'm going along with it, which I quite agree is like a lot of barriers broken there. So
totally. So
it's also nice. It's also nice that you have that relationship with the school where they're not just going to give a certificate and not write anything. Like you probably, maybe that you get a certificate, but you get a certificate. You're like, but he probably just stayed in the class and did some things, and they gave him a certificate for that. Whereas
because you don't actually.
Do you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, like this will. But
then where they've said he got involved and photos are on the way. Oh, that's so nice, mate.
So yeah, hopefully the photos can come through and we can see them. So that was sort of the main win, because again, that's a developmental thing. And straight away we were like, Amy jumped to it, and I was like, Ben's just gonna say when I say this, just take it easy, take it a day at a time, don't jump to it. But we were like, well, maybe on this Sports Day we don't stand at the front like we did last time. We just sort of meld into the group, see if he's happy. If he is happy, cool, we watch him and congratulate him afterwards. If he's not, we can go to the classroom with him, but he didn't know we were there. Because again, I always have this thing of, which I suppose most kids and parents, they act differently when they know that you're around. And that can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing. And sports day could be like, you know what, I don't want to run around on this. You can come with me and we'll sit in my class. So I'd rather him try and experience things.
You will have some photos of him doing some sort of sporting activity. You can build that into a social story that you say, today, this at school. Give them the PE kit or whatever. So, yeah, it's fine.
And then my sort of, I said I only had one winning change, but actually just sort of the recollection, as I said earlier.
Sorry, it just occurred to me, never been to any of my kids' sports days. Always as well.
Nature of your job, isn't it?
Yeah.
However, go on.
There's some positives to that because, they act different when you're around. So
well, it's interesting. We have different, because I am self-employed, I can be at these things. I have the power to choose if I do or don't go. I would always obviously rather go, but if I do believe the best thing for me is not to go, then I would opt to not go. So. And then the recollection, say I celebrate Diagnosis Day with a poem. I've always liked writing poetry. I don't believe I'm the world's greatest at it, obviously, but I do just like simple rhyming couplets and telling simple stories. And I actually put in there, obviously I used the word chronicling because it's, something you said probably 6 months ago, started talking about it more. And I put in my Facebook post today, just like actually by chronicling my weekly wins, basically this podcast, it made telling the story of this year so much easier because I was able to go back and look through photos and be like, yes, this is brilliant.
Well, that's great. And that's why this podcast is probably continuing to go on for over 46 episodes, because I think we genuinely find it helpful and useful. And if you're listening to this and you also do, and that is rad. Also, it doesn't matter how good I think my singing is or my band is. It doesn't matter how good you think your poetry or your rhyming couplets are. The important thing is to do it if you enjoy it.
Exactly, yes. You get the dopamine here of people saying they like it, which is always nice, but I don't do it looking for the likes, but
But also the purpose of art is to do some art, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Just do it. Yeah. There isn't any good or bad art. It's just what you want to do.
You can't be everyone's cup of tea, but let them drink coffee. I'm happy with hot chocolate. That's how I see it.
Indeed. Cool. This seems like we both had pretty decent weeks. Shall we have a bit of a chat about what might be coming up next week in our fantastically named section, Look Ahead to the Week Ahead? It's Look Ahead to the Week Ahead. Righty ho. Do you know what you've got coming up?
I do actually. It's not the most action-packed of weeks for the ICOTs, but week 3 of school and a couple of medical appointments, and that's about it on the Frankie front. Otherwise, it's a kind of quietish week. But tune in next week to find out how wrong I usually am.
Well, in terms of me, I have a band practice, which I think the kids might want to come to again on Monday. And then hopefully a full week of school for the kids. Not much in the calendar, some football training, some singing for Mabel outside of school, hopefully. Some stuff in there for Oscar. And then next weekend, my band are playing. We try to pick things that, most importantly, kids can come to, or teens can come to, and also stuff that we think might be a little bit fun and stuff we haven't done before. So we are playing at a local HMV in a city.
A record store gig.
Really funny for us because we were like 15 years old wandering around HMV, and we don't have anything in HMV. We just have us, and it's really fun and it's really silly, and we quite like that HMV does that, so we thought it was fun. Oscar can go in there and like stare at all the Funko Pops and pop cultural references that they're aware of. Mabel's going to do the same, and we just go out and have a nice day. All the other band members can bring their kids that kind of range from like 2 years old up to like I think 9. So it's kind of just a silly little fun thing to do, and we love that. And the kids are going to come, and the kids are going to enjoy it.
Brilliant!
Yeah, a little bit of fun.
And I'm hoping I should be there as well. I'm in.
It'd be nice.
I'm in the vicinity doing some documentary catch-up filming. So yes, that'd be good.
Nice. Yeah, that would be lovely to see you. Okay, cool. If you have been listening to this podcast, and we know that you are, because Dan gets all of the numbers, we thank you very much. We would very much like to continue doing this, and I think we will. And I always say each week, we probably would if nobody listens, because we still find it useful. If you find it useful, or you're just super interested in how this is going to go and develop for our kids, then that's rad. We did start it and wanted to see how far it went. We're coming up on doing it for 1 year, because we started at the end of a football season, and it's almost the end of a football season. So yeah, lots more chats like this to come. But yeah, we genuinely, if you watch or listen in any way, shape, or form, or you tell your friends about it, then that is rad. Thank you so much. If you want to keep up to date with what we are doing, we do have a presence on TikTok and Instagram. That's the NeuroDADverse. And also we have an email, which is NeuroDADverse@gmail.com. So if you've got anything you want to kind of share with us or talk about, you can get in touch that way. There's always something I've forgotten. Oh no, there's 3 things I've forgotten, and Dan's going to tell you them while we sign off.
Just to echo what Ben said, thank you so much for taking the time to listen, especially if you make it to this part of the podcast to hear me say, you are enough, you're doing great, and you're certainly not alone. Win your week, everyone.
Good energy. That's about it for the NeuroDADverse. We'll be back next week.
If you laughed, cried, or nodded in tired agreement, don't forget to follow us and leave a review. It helps more parents find us.
Just remember, you're doing great.
You are enough. And you are definitely not alone.
Got a question or want to share a story? Drop us a message on Instagram or email us at neurodadverse@gmail.com. Look after yourselves.